I gotta tell you, I don't get angry often, but I'm angry right now. I'm really PO'd. I'm PO'd, I'm frustrated. I watch a lot of the business networks. I stay away from politics. I don't watch news networks. And these people are just idiots. Plain and simple, they're just idiots. They don't understand. Let me explain something to you. If there was a Category 5 hurricane off the coast, and that Category 5 hurricane on average were to kill 5 or 10 people, maybe 20 people, you would have every local official screaming at people to prepare, scaring them, using threats, doing everything you could to try and get your people to evacuate and to prepare. Make sure you have enough supplies. This is coming. I want to warn you. Well, we've got a virus coming into our country that's already killed thousands of people, is going to spread probably all over this country, is going to hospitalize a huge amount of people, is probably going to kill a fair amount of people, even if it's a 1 to 2% death rate. And everyone's telling you to calm down. Doesn't that kind of bother you a little bit? It should. It really should bother you. It bothers me. Because what ends up happening is people end up putting off their preparation to the last minute, and then everybody panics. It's stupid. I just don't get this. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to take a break from our lawn videos and our how-to basic videos. I'm going to go inside. We're going to sit down. We're going to have a discussion about this. I've been trying to do this for 2 weeks. Finally, I said, I'm going to go in and do this. I've done this video 2 or 3 times, and I've scrapped it. We're going to go inside. I want you to make some popcorn. I want you to grab a beer. This is not one of those 2-minute videos you can watch. We're going to have a general discussion, and I'm going to talk to you like you're one of my family members, one of my friends, and I'm just going to go over and I'm going to give you some personal advice. So hold on one sec. Hey guys, it's Doc. Before I begin, because I got a lot to cover, hit that subscribe button. Well, it's either over here or over here, because we got a lot of videos coming out and a lot of helpful videos that are going to help you if you're concerned about the virus, things that you can do at home, projects and stuff we're going to be working on. You don't want to miss those. The next thing is I'm going to be talking about some stuff. I'll be giving you some reference material, be giving you some maps and some products and things. In the description below, I always put one link. There's one link in that description, so I don't have to put a whole bunch. That takes you over to our website. There'll be a web page, and all this information will be there, and I'll be updating it for you. So we'll have some updates on there. We'll add some more additional information. So why am I so angry? I've tried to make this video. I swear, this is the absolute truth. For 2 weeks, I've been trying to make this video, and I've actually started making it, and I've scrapped it. I've just walked away, frustrated, because I get done making the video, and then I watch the news. I mainly watch business news, business networks. I watch the news and I'm like, man, these people are just stupid. And then I listen to the information coming from our government and I'm just like, this is just insane. This is just crazy. This is the wrong way to handle the information on this coronavirus. And so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over a few different things. I'm going to talk about how you can sort of prepare yourself, your family. We're going to talk a little about business. We're going to talk a little bit about the economy. We're going to talk about a few different things. So there's no politics in this. I'm apolitical. If you have politics on your mind, you can't see clearly. There's no conspiracy theories. There's nothing. This is just a good discussion. Make some popcorn, grab a beer, and we're going to have a little discussion about this. And I'm going to give you some of my wisdom from years of having to go through this kind of stuff. So hold on. Okay, the first thing I want to do is I want to talk to you about, I'm going to give you an example. And what I like to use is I like to use the 3 levels of preparation. And what are the 3 levels of preparation? Well, I'm going to use a hurricane as an example. So, level 1 preparation. Your local government, federal agencies, whoever tells you that hurricane season is coming, and what you need to do is you need to be prepared. So what they're saying to you is that within the next probably 30 to 90 days, there's a good chance that we'll start to see some hurricanes, so you need to make preparations and be prepared. That's the statement that goes out. That statement will typically motivate about 10% of the people to actually take some action. So, me being from the coast and living through hurricanes, I've done this before. When I know hurricane season is coming, I just check my supplies. I make sure I have my generator, I have the gas, propane, everything I need. I make sure I have enough dry stored food, long-term food. I have batteries, lanterns, whatever I might need in the worst case scenario. So what's the worst case scenario? Probably what I've been through, which is a hurricane comes in, just devastates the place. You're 10 days without any power, no water, no food, nothing, no ice. And so you sort of prepare for that. So you're preparing 30 to 90 days before. Now that's level 1. And again, only 10% of the people will do that. So let's go to level 2. Level 2 would be sort of, hey, there's a category 5 hurricane developing down in the coast. And we think it's a possibility of hitting us within the next probably 10 days or so. So within the next 2 weeks, there's a good chance we're going to have a real big storm come in and hit somewhere along our coastline. Well, that level 2 preparation will typically stimulate or cause 30% of the people to go out and then prepare. So those people now they have about 10 days to prepare. They're going to start to go out and they're going to start to maybe check their supplies, maybe buy some food, maybe make sure they have the ice and the generators they need. And so we're not in fear. It's just, hey, this is urgency. We're showing a little bit more urgency. So we've got 10% that are level 1. We've got, let's say, another 20 to 30% that are level 2. That leaves us about 60% of the population that has not done that. And this is where we get to level 3. And level 3 is the, Lord help me, I need some help. Because the hurricane is going to make landfall in 24 to 48 hours. Either you need to evacuate or you need to be prepared. People are running out to the stores. There's no more food. There's no more generators. Gas stations are running out of gas. We've seen it all before. We've all heard the stories. I'm sorry. Your lack of preparation and your lack of planning does not constitute an emergency on my behalf. That's something that I've told my kids when they were growing up all the time. When they'd come to me when they were little, oh, I forgot to tell you that I was supposed to have this for school. I was like, dude, you're kind of screwed at this point because your lack of planning and preparation is not going to constitute an emergency for me. People, you get fear and you get panic in the level 3 of the preparation. In other words, basically when it's kind of too late and the masses are going out trying to find, help me, because I've only got 24 to 48 hours or it's almost upon us. The people that are in level 1 and the people that are in level 2, they've already taken care of it. They're not worried. That's what I'm trying to get across to you today. As an example, at our house, we have just a couple cabinets around, and we have long-term storage food, and I put links to it on the page, stuff that I like. We have supplies. We have all kinds of stuff that essentially, if we needed to, we could lock our doors and stay inside of our house for, I would say, at least 3 months. There'd be no problem. It's not huge. It's just 2 little cabinets, 2 little pantries that we have. And I did that years ago. So I'm not a prepper. People say, oh, Doc, you're a prepper. No, I'm not a prepper. I did it one time. And I did it because we come from the coast. And we're used to dealing with this. So I don't have to worry about it. I'm not running out trying to get whatever. I've always had like N95 face masks. I've got cases of these things. I got several cases of these. I use them for yard work, but I always have a couple of them there. Just the basic supplies, simple supply stuff, dry goods, anything that I'm going to use, coffee, all the day-to-day items, soap, toothpaste, all the stuff that you're going to need, toilet paper and paper towel, all that stuff is in there. So we did that once, and I only check it maybe once every couple of years, every 2 or 3 years, but it's just sitting there, and I never have to worry about it. The same is true. You can do that same level of preparation, the 1, 2, 3 for a snowstorm, especially if you're in the South. If you're in the South, you know when a snowstorm's coming. How? Because all the bread and milk is gone from the shelves, and people run to the store at the last minute trying to get food. The snowstorm's coming. We don't do that. We don't have to worry about it because we know we've got our cabinets sitting out there. Same thing if there's a hurricane, which we had here. If there's a hurricane and we lose power for 2 days, not worried about it. I got a generator, I got plenty of food, I got a gas grill, I got cans of gas, I got propane. I got everything I need, not for 5 years, but for a reasonable period. And that is the message I wish our government and our uppers up top, I wish that is the message that they would be giving to us right now and giving to you. And here's what I'd like them to say. So I'm going to take over as the supreme leader. I've got my supreme leader hat on. And so I'm going to speak to the nation and I'm going to tell you what you need to do. So here's the message. The message is real clear. We have a virus that has spread through all kinds of countries and has a mortality rate of 1 to 3%. It also has a hospitalization rate of anywhere from 10 to 20%, which is very high. So my message on preparation is you don't have to panic. If you prepare and just change your behavior, have enough food in case you have to self-quarantine yourself. You may have to have, your family may have to self-quarantine for several weeks, a month. Do you have all the things you need to be able to do that for a month? That's what you want to be prepared about. Real quick, let's talk about masks. Are masks effective? Well, an N95 is the mask that is supposed to be worn. It's a surgical grade mask. And my belief is, yes, they are effective. N95 mask will stop microparticles of moisture, and that's really what we're talking about. We're not talking about individual viruses floating around. We're talking about when someone exhales or sneezes, that's a moisture mist that goes out, and that moisture mist actually contains the particles, and that's what this can stop. So if you wear it properly, and I even have full respirators that I use for staining and everything else, here's my biggest thing with this. I'm not walking around wearing these things. Let me tell you that now. I'm not walking around wearing a mask, but let me tell you why I like to have these. If my wife gets sick, I've got to take care of her. If she gets sick and she's up in bed, we're going to quarantine her to one room. She's going to stay in that room. And I'm going to be wearing this mask. I'll probably be wearing gloves. And anything that she needs, I will bring to her. That's one of the rules of taking care of someone at home. Some of the rules of taking care of someone at home is if someone gets sick, they're quarantined to their room, so they're not walking around the house, touching all the cabinets, touching the refrigerator, and spreading that. They stay in that room, and you bring them whatever you need. And the person that brings them what they need should have on gloves and should have on a mask, because that's how it's going to spread. So that's why I like to have some of these. If you can get them, I'll put a link to them on that page that I'm talking about, the N95 masks. Some people say you only wear them if you're sick. I disagree with that, because a lot of these even have ventilation holes, so that doesn't help if you're sick. But I actually like these things. So let's talk about next. Let's talk about the behavioral changes that are going to happen, and this is going to have a huge impact on the economy, and that's what everyone's worried about. Everyone's worried about the economy. They're worried about the stock market. But what I'm going to talk about is over the next few weeks, when they start to finally get testing kits out into society, what they're going to see is that the actual contamination rate or the spread of this is greater than we thought. And you're going to see, don't panic, but you're going to see a large explosion on the numbers. You're going to see hundreds, if not thousands, of more cases than we thought we had. And what you're going to see is you're going to see something called social unplugging, which is actually going to be pretty important. In other words, if you know that, I asked my son a question. He goes to college, and I said, son, if college sent you an email and said that they have 20 identified cases of coronavirus on campus, I said, would you go to school the next day? And he said, hell no. That's an honest answer. And so that's what you need to start thinking about. You're going to see school closures in areas with infections. The schools are going to be closed. Are you prepared to have your kids at home? Especially most families, both adults work in the home. What are you going to do? How are you going to prepare for that? Are you going to go to the movie theater? Probably not. I don't know a lot of people that if this thing is spreading, you're not going to be going to the movie theater. You're not going to be going to sporting events. You're not going to be going to places with large crowds. I guarantee you that not a lot of people are going to be riding the subway around, or if they do, they're going to have masks on. What else? Just think about the places where you're going to be out. You're not going to be going to shopping malls. You're going to change your behavior. There's going to be a behavioral change going out to eat in restaurants that's going to occur over the next probably 2 to 6 months. That behavioral change is going to cause people to draw in what they call cocooning. Now, the cocooning effect is going to have an impact on our society. You can pull any business you want and think about any business. You look at Starbucks. How many people are going to be going to Starbucks if they know that the coronavirus is all around? I'm sorry, Starbucks. I love you. I love your coffee, but I don't see your business doing real well if this thing does like it possibly could, or I think it's going to do. It's going to start to spread in the U.S. like every other country. You're going to start to see over the next month or two, all business conferences, all travel like that is going to be canceled. They're going to be telling people, you know what's really doing well in the stock market are the video conferencing companies, because that's going to be a big thing over the next 12 months. Video conferencing, working from home. You're going to see supply interruptions, and we've already started to see that. Apple just announced that they're starting to see supply shortages on some of their phones. You're going to see that all over. That's going to have an impact on the economy. So just be prepared for it. Now, finance. Let me talk about finance for a minute. I do not give personal finance advice. I can just tell you, I will simply tell you what I have done. End of February, like February 28th, the president and his staff held a news conference, and they addressed the nation with their full team, and they were talking about it. This is where we are, and this is what we're planning. Okay, that's really when the market started to react. That's when people started talking about it, really. A month before that, let me say this again. A month before that, as the CEO of a small company, I gathered all my employees on about January 25th, and I said, let's talk about the coronavirus. We're having a staff meeting. And we talked about the possible impact on supply chains, impact on our business, and the impact on their personal families. And I said, you all need to follow my lead and do my preparation that I'm talking about so that your families are taken care of. Today, which is almost a month later, we had another meeting, and today we talked about cross-training. A perfect example is one of my employees, their daughter had strep throat, and he was out for 3 days. Well, he covers a kind of a critical area in our shipping department, and we were kind of backed up there. So what I told everyone today is I want everyone cross-training. So the guy that's in this department, I want you up in the order department so that you can fill orders. The person that handles the PC, I want everyone cross-training so that everyone can take over every other job, because it's going to happen. Someone's kids are going to get sick they're going to get the virus from school, and they're going to stay home and take care of them. And you could be looking at, a gap of 2, 3, 4 weeks of an absence. And that can be kind of critical, especially in your smaller business. I'm working with a restaurant right now. They really don't have a delivery service. And so what I'm kind of talking to them about is a friend of mine. I'm talking about, look, what you probably need to do is implement some kind of home delivery service. So in other words, a quote unquote virus-free delivery where you don't come to the restaurant actually delivers the food to you, or some kind of pickup service. You're going to have fewer and fewer people going out to eat. Well, you need to cater to them and say, hey, we're taking precautions. Our employees are wearing this and this. Explain what's going on and do a delivery service. So there's all these things that just start to roll through your mind. It can drive you crazy. But if you prepare ahead of time, if you start to think now, you can make these plans so that you don't have to immediately react and panic. That's what we're talking about today. Sorry, I started talking about personal back around the beginning of January when I had that meeting, by the way, before the stock market started to crash. I took most of my free cash on hand and a little bit of my retirement money, and I did two things. I shorted the Dow, and I bought gold futures. I did those two things. I believe the Dow is going to really, over the next 6 to 12 months, is going to take a big hit. The Dow is probably going to go way down. Gold is going to probably go way up. And that's just kind of where I sit. Now, I will let you know that yesterday I was supposed to have an interview with Peter Schiff. And a lot of you guys know Peter. Peter's been on the bandwagon of we're in a bubble economy. He predicted the housing crisis of 2008 or 2009. And he's been in this bubble economy saying, look, it just takes one pin to pop this bubble. And he's talking about the virus actually popping this bubble. But he's also a big gold bug. He loves gold. So we're sort of on that same page. I'm in the same mindset. I had an interview scheduled with him yesterday. We started to do the interview for you guys. And unfortunately, his audio system was having trouble. So we couldn't get his audio to work. So I will do one more video for you guys with Peter on there. We'll talk about the economy coming up. So I've been talking to a lot of people about this, just average people, coworkers, family, friends, people I'm meeting out. I just stop them and say, hey, do you mind having a conversation with me? And let me tell you, one of the interesting conversations was there's a woman that I know, and she's kind of like, I'm just not that worried about it. And she's actually kind of a prepper. And she's like, I'm just not worried about it. I said, well, what happens if your kids get sick? She goes, well, I got friends or family that can come over. I said, really? So let's say, for example, just play this scenario out in your mind. And this is really what you kind of need to do. You have a husband and a wife, and you have 2 kids. The husband gets sick, and this actually happened in New York. The husband gets sick, comes home, and gets the wife and 2 kids sick. This is the attorney in New York, the 50-year-old attorney. That actually happened. He ends up having to go to the hospital to get treatment. So now the wife is home, she has the virus, and the 2 kids have the virus. Well, the guy that came and took him to the hospital now has the virus, and his family has the virus. You see how that kind of connects? And what I was saying to her was, I said, well, what happens if you and your husband get sick? Who are going to take care of your kids? Well, she said, that's what friends and family are for. I said, so you want grandma and grandpa to come over who are, 65, 75 years old and who are not in the greatest of shape, not in the greatest health. You want them to come over and catch the virus and probably die? Is that what you're telling me? And she stopped and thinking. She said, no, that's not a good idea. I said, hell no, it's not a good idea. So you need to kind of have this. The thing about it is I really want you to think about the self-quarantine mode, where that's all I want you to do. Think about the self-quarantine mode. The problem I have is I have older children. So I've got a daughter with a child. I have a granddaughter and a husband. They're millennials. And do you think they're planning and preparing? Nope, they're not. It's just like, well, they're just living their life as normal. So in back of my mind, I'm thinking, okay, now do I have to prepare for them as well too? That's really where we're getting to at this point, is you need to prepare for yourself and your household. But if you have extended family members, I'm not going to go over there. I'm sorry. I'm not going to go over there and get sick and die. But what I will do is I will bring supplies and drop them off at their house because I'm prepared, even though they're not. That's kind of the mode I want you to get into. Look, and that's the problem. The wonderful thing about humans is that we are caring creatures. We have emotions and we care about our family. We care about our kids. We care about our grandkids. And I do want you to think about that, because I guarantee you, no matter what you say to the younger generations, the majority of them, 90% of them, are going to live their life as normal, and they're not going to prepare. So if you're a parent or if you're a grandparent, I want you to think along that route. Not just preparing for you, but prepare for the ones that are not going to prepare. That's the stage I'm at right now. What do I need to do for them? Don't forget, school closings are going to be out, and you got to have something to keep them busy. Now, let me show you something. Let's talk something positive for a minute. If we can't go out to public places, if we can't go out to large crowds, what are we going to do? So I want you to think of activities and plan for some activities that you can do over the next 6 months. So if you have kids, what's going to keep them busy? For yourself, what's going to keep you busy? So instead of going on the cruise or going down to the resort or going shopping or whatever you're doing, what are we going to do at home? Well, yard care is a good thing to do. So you can work on the yard. You can work on your hobbies. I really want people, I think one thing everyone should do this year is probably plant a vegetable garden. So even if you have a small backyard, get into vegetable gardening. It's great for your family. It's great for the kids. Teach them. Let them get involved with it. But the other thing is if you have, if you do what I say, and if you have a lot of dry goods there, you can walk out in the backyard. And last year, I had boatloads of tomatoes and cucumbers and peas and squash. I had more than I wanted to eat. So you can actually walk out in the back and pick fresh vegetables all summer long. And today I actually stopped by Lowe's and I bought my seeds for my garden. And I'm going to be hit the subscribe button. We'll be putting in gardens. We'll be putting down humichar and different fertilizers. We'll be doing a backyard garden. We're going to expand it out for you guys. And that's a great activity. The other thing is, think about things that are socially unplugged. And what do I mean? A lot of this is getting back to nature. So, how about fishing? Take the kids fishing. Go down to a lake, go down to the stream, go out fishing. There's not people around. Hunting, if you like to hunt, hiking, camping. Camping trips are great. There's no one else around. You just go and it's just you guys out in nature. Think about the activities that you can do, bike riding, anything that just is just basically getting back to nature. That's going to be a wonderful thing to do, and plan for those activities because you're going to need them because you may start to go stir crazy. There was an analysis. I was watching a business channel and there was a woman on there and she was talking about her acronym called NAPS. And what is NAPS? It's for the cocooning effect. Netflix, Amazon, Peloton, and something else, some food delivery service. But basically, Netflix, instead of going to the movies and going out, you're going to stay home and watch Netflix. Amazon, instead of going out and doing shopping, you're going to have a lot of home delivery services. Hopefully, if there's not interruptions. Peloton, instead of going to the gym, unfortunately, I go to the gym. I've been going to the gym all my life. I'm not going to the gym anymore. Period. I'm not going to the gym. Starting here probably this week. I was about to start working out again. I'm going to have to work out at home. Peloton, working out at home. And then food delivery services. They're all going to do well. So that's the mindset of cocooning, and she was talking about it, and I was like, yes. I said, finally, someone's making some sense. Someone was talking about the fact that China, after several months of dealing with the virus, has started to see some recovery. Yes, but I want you to understand the difference between China and the United States. China is a militarized communist country. When the government says you are now quarantined as a city, you stay inside your house. End of story. If you break that quarantine, you go to jail or prison or labor camp. You disappear. China has drones flying around, and if they see someone outside without a face mask on, the drone yells at them. And if they don't put the face mask on, they get arrested. They have these teams of disinfecting armies running around spraying mass disinfectant on all the public transportation, on malls, on everything. It's a militarized effort. They built massive hospitals in weeks. I mean, massive treatment centers. They erected these super hospitals up in a matter of weeks. It was an amazing feat. And what are we doing in the United States? The Attorney General of the United States, the Surgeon General of the United States, went on the air last week and said, stop buying masks. You don't need to be buying masks. They're not going to do you any good. And I was like, really? This is our plan, people? This is our plan? That we're going to tell people to stop buying masks? It's driving me crazy, folks. I want everyone I know and everyone that follows me and everyone that I care about, I want you all to get into the phase 1 preparation phase, which is have your backup cabinets in case something goes wrong. Number 2, I'm going to take you outside here in a minute and I'm going to show you my shopping pantry. So we have 2 cabinets that we don't touch. They're emergency food in case something were to happen. But this year, what I did, because of this situation, the behavioral change that we want to see is we want to see fewer trips to the supermarket. So I was going 3 times a week. My wife was going 3 times a week. She buys what she wants. I buy whatever. That's got to stop. That exposure to the public in the supermarket really has got to stop. And so what I told her we need to start doing is, let's try and get it to the point where we go to the supermarket twice a month. So that means what? We have to change our buying habits. So when we go to the store, we actually started buying a lot of stuff in bulk at Sam's. Plus, whenever we buy stuff like coffee. So I would go to the store and I'd buy 1 tin of coffee when I was about to run out. Now what I do is I buy 3 or 4 tins. If we eat a lot of soup. I mean, it's just a quick meal for us, like Progresso soups. So we used to stop and buy 5, every week we'd buy 5 or 10 of those. Now we buy 20, 30, or 40 and we stock them up. And what we do is we put them in a shopping pantry outside. And so what that means is we have our normal pantry inside, which has, your normal amount of food in it. But when we start to run out of something, we don't have to go to the supermarket. We just go out to the garage and we get what we need out of the shopping, out of the bulk pantry, and bring it inside. So when I run out of coffee, I don't have to write it on a list and after work go stop at Walmart and pick up a couple things. Now I just go out to the garage in my bulk pantry. And I'm going to show you what that looks like here in a minute. That's the kind of smart thinking that I really want everyone to start doing. Number one, be prepared for behavioral changes. Number two, be prepared for the effect on the economy. And if you own a business, start planning. Make those plans and talk to your employees. Talk to your family and coordinate what happens if someone gets sick. You need to talk about room isolation so that they're not walking all over the house, and what are the plans. You need to talk to your extended family. You need to say if you have older children living outside the house, if you have older parents living outside the house, you need to have that discussion that, hey, if we get sick, we do not want you coming in here. You are not coming in this house to help us out. You need to stay away. And if you want to drop off food, that's fine, or help us out that way, but you do not come into the house. Because I guarantee you, if you have old parents that are not in great health condition, if they get this, they're at a much higher risk of getting seriously sick and dying. So anyways, let me grab the camera and I'll take you outside and I'll show you my pantry real quick. Okay, so this is our normal pantry. This is in our kitchen. This is our normal pantry, and this is, we have our coffee, some vegetables and some soups and whatever. And when we run out of something, we would normally go to the store. Well, let me show you what we do now. So now we keep these are steel cabinets. They're attached to the walls. We keep them locked. Now what I can do is I can come out here and basically anything I need, no matter what it is, whether it's, I got health supplies, cleaning supplies, paper towels, whatever, soups, pasta, whatever, everything is in here. And this is where we come and we pull out of here. This is where we shop during the week. So I think you'll see that starts to make sense. And I really hope that this sort of drives home what you should be doing. What people won't tell you what you should be doing, but this is what you should be doing. Plan for the worst, because good things take care of themselves. That's been my life motto. I don't think I'm going to die in the next 60 days, but I have life insurance. I don't think my house is going to burn down, but yet I've had homeowners insurance for 40 years, 30 years, 40 years. I don't think I'm going to get in an accident next week, but I always have car insurance, health insurance. Make sense? So we have those things because there's a chance that it might happen. And that's all I want you to do. Don't freak out. Just prepare a little bit at a time, get ready, and you should be good. Talk to you later. Doc.